Woohoo!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is that time. It is Wednesday to do the things that
Woohoo.
we do. It does happen. It is around. Ho, 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 Merry Halloween and all the other fun stuff. Grab your pumpkin spice and prepare for some Linux.
Yes.
Ah, so chilly. Nice
This is
warm
that,
tea.
that in-between time to watch one of my favorite movies, Nightmare Before Christmas, because you get the Halloween and the Christmas.
Stop motion animation, man. Like the real stuff. None of that CGI nonsense.
Yeah. Aw.
What was the, I posted a picture of it, I think last night. There was a candle that was, smelled like cranberry stuffing and turkey. Doesn't it seem like a cool thing to do?
Yeah.
I want to like break into somebody's house and like light that while they're sleeping to see if they wake up with some really false expectations. They're like, oh, it smells like somebody. Oh no, just a candle.
Oh, I like the dancing pumpkin mirror. That's cute.
Don't trust
yeah.
dancing pumpkins.
It's supposed to be 80 here, which isn't bad, but 90s. Oh boy.
90s. See, this is the interesting time of the year. Interesting time of the year where the weather, depending on where you're at, the weather has the equivalent of mood swings.
Yeah.
It will
October is when here in SoCal when we get Santa Anas. It's kind of, it used to always whenever I would start my classes in college, it was always during the worst heat wave. Always.
I was laughing a little bit in the pre-show because it's not necessarily cold at all. It's like 13C here today, 14C somewhere in there. Which, if you were coming out of a regular winter time, 13, 14 degrees, like, let's put on some shorts, man, and go outside.
Yeah.
But when you go from the 25 to 26 one day, then you're smashed out into that. You're cold. You have on your cardigan. Like,
Yeah.
Which is silly, but it's still very entertaining. I got up right before we went live, everyone. I did it. I like to share it with everyone when I buy some. I was being responsible like a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. I never buy enough tea. Never buy enough tea. I'm like, let's just buy like all the tea. Let's just buy like 3 big boxes of it, which I did. Felt good about myself.
Nice.
It's like being responsible, whatever. But, you know, I'm like, I'm not going to make like 3 or 4 trips to the grocery just to pick up tea. Pack it in the cupboards and all that. And I finally get around to it like maybe a week later because I ran out of what I normally had. And then I grabbed this. Come to find out, all of them I bought have no tea strings on the bag. They're just tea bags with no strings.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
yeah, me and hubby always keep tons of tea because we kind of pick it up as, oh, that looks good, and we have a big cupboard just full of tea.
for me, it is a caffeine. I go through a lot of tea, and it's very inconvenient. So now I have tongs next to my kettle that I can grab the giant tea bag in and like dunk it like that with tongs until it's done. Not very smooth. Life finds a way. Because I'm not... What are you going to do? Take the tea boxes back and be like, hey, can I swap these out for once with bags? No. You learn from your mistakes. All right. So we got about 7 minutes before go time.
Okay, I better go take a break.
Those in...
Yeah, Mir, yeah, that's... I know, it's weird to have stringless tea bags, but I've noticed that too. I will be right back.
Just got to pay attention to the box art. I was looking at ProtonDB just a minute ago. Why because Uncharted is now available and it is Steam Deck verified. Which to me means very little. I'm glad that it works on Steam Deck, but I'm curious how it's going to work on this box or whether or not I should even buy it. And you know what? It's not like crazy. What was it, like $50, $49? Let's take a look. Let's attempt to take a look. Uncharted Steam. What are we looking at? There we go. I've never played any of the Uncharted games. $49.99. Legacy of Thieves Collection. That doesn't mean anything to me. Is that like a I'm assuming it's just one game though, right? Uncharted Legacy includes 2 critically acclaimed single-player adventures, so you get 2 adventures. That's not vague. Breathtaking sights. User agreement. There's a health warning. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I went over to ProtonDB and I didn't see, I couldn't find it. First thing I noticed that there's a lot of games called Uncharted on Steam. That was my first revelation. But I gotta finish Jedi Souls before I do anything. I've hit a brick wall in Jedi Souls, which is like a Dark Souls boss that I don't know if I want to fight through. Because you gotta get into the rhythm game aspect of it. And patiently blocking is usually not my style. Hey, there you go, bot. Everybody's going to think we're just looking up. Did I get that the right 348? No, I got the wrong number on there. I need to change that. And how do we change that? We need to go to the web zone. Head over to Twitch. And we're going to go to our video producer. And we're going to go to our stream manager. And from there, I can put the right number in. 348. Done and done. We have this. This is something I was up to earlier this week. I'm taking apart a Tascam 1608 multi-channel audio interface. Wanted to see what makes it tick. It's got built-in DSP. I get this entire thing together. I take it apart. Takes forever to get it apart. Wasn't as bad as putting it back together. Once I figured out how to put it back together correctly, do you ever run into that? You know, there's no guides on the internet for taking these things apart. Not at all. So what do? You just start taking out screws. You take out screws and you start wiggling things. And you find out and you get it apart. Then you put it back together and you run into that one thing that just doesn't snap back together correctly. And you can't figure it. It almost defeated me. I finally figured out how to get it back together. Get it back together, pack it up, put it back in the box, go put it in the storage room with all the other unloved audio interfaces. Go through the footage that I recorded, and immediately I see that there's a ribbon cable under a daughter board that is only halfway plugged in. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Gotta be. Normally, I think a sane person would have said, oh well, I guess that'll get plugged in one day. I tried to be a sane person for a couple of hours that evening into that morning, because I think around 1 o'clock in the morning I gave up because it was bucking me. And I took it back out of the box and disassembled it to plug that cable back in. Flush. Then reassembled it. Then put it back in the box and put it back in storage. It wasn't a fun time. That was a failing on my part. I should have just been able to leave it. I was compromising with myself over this too. I'm like, just put a note on the box. Hey, plug that cable back in. Next time. I mean, it was functioning perfectly, but who knows? Also, I ran into, for the first time, how many years have you been ordering stuff online, Jill? Let's say from Amazon. I've been buying stuff on Amazon since Amazon's been selling stuff online.
Yeah, same here. Same here. And then eBay, like early, right when eBay started, before they even had security. Yeah.
And all of those years of buying stuff on Amazon, I've never had a order canceled. I had an order canceled.
Oh, okay. I had a couple. Mostly it's stuff from China that I've ordered.
This was a local, I didn't know
Oh.
who it was, but it was a local seller. And I look at this, you don't think twice about it because, when I have time to sit down and buy something on Amazon, it's always like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, whatever. Finally, I'll just buy it. Didn't think twice about it. I'm like, that'll be here Wednesday at 3 p.m. next week, because that's when things show up at the house.
Yeah.
And I get an email the next morning, and of course I see the notification. I'm like, oh, look, that's already shipped. All right, that's neat. And I click on it. It's like, your item has been canceled. I'm like, what? So I go back to the item, and I see what it was. The item was still available. It was for sale, but the seller decided to increase the price by $30. Oh. That's all it was. They decided they didn't want to sell it for $99. They wanted to sell it for $100 and whatever it was.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. I haven't had that happen before. I have had packages refunded because they were damaged in shipping. I had one item recently that wasn't damaged in shipping, but I still got a refund for it because the box was all slashed up. Mm-hmm. But the item inside was fine. But that was nice. It was a $60 item, so...
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had a seller cancel, I wouldn't have thought twice about it if I had went back to the item page and it just said, no longer available. I'm like, somebody messed up their inventory and, they didn't have one to sell. No, it was available. It was for sale. They just didn't want to sell it. They forgot to up the price on it, which was more so irritating because they had the one at that price. Everybody else had it for $99. So I just went and ordered it. In fact, I found one used. So there's a happy ending to that story. Yeah, inventory, I completely understand. I completely get it. Toilet paper canceled in 2020? Isn't that going to be a strange thing in the history books?
Yeah.
When people are reading about our little pandemic, and that chapter in the history books is you're not going to believe this, but, people panic bought toiletries. Why? Shrug emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird one. All right. So, I think we have everything together. That's gone. That's gone. That's gone. That's good. That's good. All right. Clicked in. Tasty. That is put together. All right. So we should be good to go. Rock and roll. Let me scroll down. And what are we looking for? We're looking for the same thing we look for each and every week, which is that. I was looking at the Debian testing updates, and so there was an update to GNOME System Monitor, and I opened it looking for something new, and there wasn't. So maybe it's bugged.
Okay.
I would love it if GNOME System Monitor managed to figure out that this screen over here is not the primary display. It is the first one in the chain.
Yeah.
But this one, I can't figure that out. It's always good to open over here. In fact, if it had opened on the primary display, I wouldn't have found it because I'm so accustomed to just like that and then dragging it across 3 monitors.
Yeah.
Strange. All right. Is there anything else? No, that's good. That's good. That's balanced. And we'll tap that. Okay. Let's do a shoujo.
Okay, sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, episode 348 is about to commence. That is a promise and or a warning. It's up to you, however you want to take that. Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vin, that's Jill. And hey, you're watching us live. If you're not, you're listening to us after the fact, wherever we may be. So we're everywhere, Jill. You just can't get rid of us.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
I'm always surprised when I just run through, you type in and just start looking for like the shows you've done over time, and it shows up in like search results and all that, and vanity searches for the shows that you're on or shows that you do. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a podcasting feed aggregator. Okay, then I'll always go and check, make sure it's right and all that. So I was talking in the pre-show. I do a thing, interfacing Linux, always just trying to build a database of what is and what is not compatible with audio interfaces for Linux, because we all know audio doesn't work under Linux, according to Windows users who pretend to run Linux on Twitter and tweet about this. So I have a 1608 and I get this thing. This is the most over-engineered piece of equipment I've ever disassembled, Jill.
Okay.
And what do you do? What do you do when you're disassembling something and you don't have a guide? You just start taking out screws.
Oh boy, gotta be careful with those screws.
And that's the only way to do it. It's not going to come apart any other way, right? You know, I don't have a manual for this. I couldn't find a teardown for it. I'm like, oh, look, brave adventure. And you know you're going to take out some of the wrong screws and all that, but you're just conscious of it. And you get everything. I finally get everything. I get it disassembled. 28 screws to get the case off this thing. To give you comparison, like, say this Mo 2828 MK3, it probably has 5.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just, I mean, to their credit, over-engineered, but, and I get a part, I do the filming for it because I wanted to get some shots of the internal DSP because this thing's got a fancy mixer built into it that we can use under Linux, and it's even got a GUI. I get everything, get it back together. It takes me another 3 hours to get this thing back together because it is the worst curse of, you got everything, but I couldn't get the case to slide back in correctly, and I'm fighting. Like, I take it out of here. I go into the kitchen to sit down to have a think with it and like get lights out. I'm listening. I finally figured out what was stopping it because, you know, you don't want to force anything back together. Get all that done, pack it up, put it in the box, put it in the storage room. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll get back around to, you know, I'll pull that out if somebody's got a question about it later on in a couple of years, which is handy to have these. Like, oh yeah, here, let's see if we can fix that together. And we get it up and working. Come back in here. Go through the footage, just kind of scrubbing through it, cutting out the parts that I want to put in the video. And I see, as I'm flipping it around, under a daughter board, on top of the motherboard, there's a ribbon cable. That's only like 25% plugged in.
Yeah. Well, it was good that you had the video footage to show you that.
Was it, Jill? Was it? Because I was ready. I was ready to go to bed at that point. I was like, I'm tired. I've been at this. I just want to get some sleep, and that lasted maybe an hour. Then I went and I got it, and I took it back apart and plugged it back in. So that's my adventure with 28 screws. And back again, a Hobbit's Tale.
Yes.
Of OCD.
It sounds also like a laptop surgery, and I've performed that many times.
I have to.
With 100 screws.
Really like somebody if I work on their laptop.
Yeah.
A laptop is not something like I've replaced a couple of keyboards over like because of that reason, you know. There's a bazillion screws. Now, fortunately, these days they're more and more common. Everything's just glued onto the board, so you can't do anything. Like, well, how do I fix that? Oh, you take it out back and throw it, and like light it on fire by a new one. because repairing things is getting more and more difficult. You know, what's clunky as laptops used to be, Jill, you could pretty much swap out every piece on them, you know?
Oh,
like the main board.
Yeah, you can even update upgrade the GPU. I've done that on some of my older laptops.
Some of the, they've tried that a couple of different ways of like, hey, we can do upgradable graphics. But these days, look at a modern MacBook. It's just like that little sliver at the top and the rest of it's battery.
All soldered. Glued and soldered.
Surface mount stuff. It's not a fun time. Unlike what we do on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Yeah, so I have been really, really, really enjoying Trackmania. In fact, I've been finding myself playing it more than any other game of late. And we had some fun maps yesterday. They were challenging, but you could get through them. And as long as you practice, as long as I practice all the maps, I'll get faster at them.
I tell myself that lie too.
Yeah, yeah. Now, last week, Vin, we had some doozies.
We had some fun ones. We have some fun ones. I got to sit back and make a mixtape each and every week of puzzles that we try to get around. And on Tuesdays, we have a server. If you're a Twitch sub or patron, take advantage of it. You already got that sub. You're already a patron. You got access to our server. You can come in 24/7 anytime you want. But that's not the fun part. We have scheduled events on Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesdays, we drop 14 new maps. And these are maps I've picked out. I'm always open. We have a Trackmania channel in our Discord for anybody, because there's like 8,000 maps, or you can make your own maps. And if you want to play them, hey, let me know. We'll drop them in. But yeah, it's real fun to get together Tuesday. And that's the first time everybody gets a look at what I have in store for them. Then we can practice during the week, during our own time. And coming in on Friday, it just completely changes the game, because we're not doing this really time attack stuff. We're all starting at the same time, and we're trying to get through for points. And
maps that you usually, had gotten through at a good time and finished without no problem. All of a sudden, if you have a big group of people and you get nervous because you're trying to win some games and prizes. Things change. Your anxiety level goes up.
It completely flips the dynamic from, racing on yourself, just smashing over and over and over, trying to get that top time, to, oh no, it's a real race and it completely falls apart, which is the entertaining part. It
sure is. And then sometimes the exact opposite. I find sometimes having a lot of people around, all of a sudden on a map, I'll be focused and I'll be in, And it goes back and forth from being distracted to being focused.
And I'm going to say each and every week, at least one person will win a map because they just slowed down.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
They consecutively came in third, fourth, or fifth, but while we were trying to race around the map because we were not being very intelligent, flying off and crashing, they were completing the map and getting the points. So it's an interesting dynamic. Now, we were talking, I know this is a strange thing, but we were talking about iPads in the pre-show because Apple's released, the iPad, whatever it is this
M2.
year.
Yeah.
And it's got a DaVinci Resolve is available on it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat, right? But I'm not going to buy an iPad. I'm not going to spend like $1,200-$1,400 on an iPad. But we've never really had a iPad-like device, a tablet on Linux that is really good. And we kind of wanted to like the Pine Tab. But, it was a 720p screen and you just couldn't get a hold to them. Maybe we can do a little bit better. Maybe an x86 tablet from Juno.
Yeah. So Juno Computers, they're the sellers of Linux computers and laptops, has branched out now and selling something lots of us in the Linux community have been waiting for, a Linux-powered tablet. And not just a Linux-powered tablet that's ARM-based. This one is x86 64-bit based. Woohoo! Very exciting. So this Juno tablet is now available for pre-order for $429 and up, and it can be configured with, of course, several different touch-friendly mobile Linux distros. But keep in mind, this is a beta, and some of the hardware is not supported by software yet, but with the help of lots of Linux users and developers, I'm sure that will be fixed very soon. And so, the specs are an x86 64-bit Intel Jasper Lake processor, an Intel 4-core Celeron, 1920 by 1200 pixel IPS LCD touchscreen display, 8 gigs of LPDDR, 2133 RAM, so that's soldered to the motherboard, 256 gig, 512 gig, and 1 terabyte storage options. Very nice. And a slew of USB 3.1 Type-C port. There's one of those, and there's one USB 3.0 Type-A port, and a mini HDMI, a micro SD card reader, and a headphone jack. Thank you very much, Juno, for the headphone jack. And there's also support for an optional pen with 1,024 levels of pressure sensitivity, which is available as a $22 add-on for the tablet. Actually, that's a really good price. And the Linux OS choices are Mobian, Monjero Plasma Mobile, and Monjero Phosh. So I'm pretty excited about this tablet. Me and Ven were talking about it, and it would be nice if it was a little lower in price, but it's still, we need a Linux x86 tablet in the community. We've needed one desperately. Huh, Ven? Ven wants one.
I want one, but this is not going to be it. Couple of things with this. Like, my first thought about this was, hey, this thing's using a Celi 5100, which is 4-core, 4-thread, 1.1 gigahertz. That's a chip from 2021. I was kind of a stinker back then. And being x86, what's that mean? That means your battery life is not going to be that great. Couple of things really stand out to me, though. Couple of things. I need to see something other than 3D renders before I think about parting with money, especially when it says in bold on their website that this is a developer beta, but it's also non-refundable. So if you get it, you can't get your money back if you don't like it. The only thing you can get is store credit. So you need to keep these things in mind. A lot of things are not working. Suspend and resume, they partially work. I mean, to their credit, there's a list of stuff of what works and what does not work. And you can look at this added privacy feature, though. The internal microphone and rear camera don't work at all yet. So I don't have to worry about anybody listening. But it's also a plastic body. It does have a kickstand, but like a plastic body, like, I don't know about that. And, as to what Jill said, it's a little expensive for what it is. I don't know. There's a lot of with it. So I wish them the best of luck. But until we get, 3 operating systems right now, KDE, Plasma, and all that, just really doesn't work at all. The Mobian?
Mobian.
The Debian one, it kind of works. So, yeah, long road ahead here. Long road ahead. I think I might wait and just see what anyone else comes up with on this one.
Well, it'll be nice to keep progress of the Juno computers, tablets, the journey they're going on. So it's really cool.
It's good to keep an eye, because you got to remember that, even System 76 started life as, just rebadging other people's OEM laptops. Yeah. Yeah. You can pretend they didn't, but that's what they did. Clevos, right?
Yeah, Clevos. Yeah.
So who knows? Wish them the best of luck. Something that got me a little bit excited is a new version of Adore. Adore has always released at a glacial pace.
Yes.
You might get a version every year and a half, 2 year-ish. Sometimes there's a couple more years in between that. But they're happy to tell you about Adore 7.0. It is out. One of the big things this go around, the big honking feature, is a little thing called clip launching. And clip launching, that allows you to experiment with combinations of various loops and one-shot samples that you can automate. They have the forward, reverse, jump, and multi-jump automation bits in there. And Adore now packs an entire loop library. You don't have to worry about downloading it all at once, but you can download that to your system and you can just get a bunch of additional MIDI loops and stuff like that from online gigabytes of stuff.
Nice.
Another thing I saw in there was mixer scenes, which is a neat idea. It's truly a neat idea because that's going to let you A/B test all of the plugins on one track. It'll save all your settings, and you can say, okay, maybe I want to try this. I want to change this with the gate. Maybe I want to change this with the EQ, with the compression. And you can go back and forwards, and, just kind of drill that down. I think that's neat. Free sound login works once more. It is back from the dead after millions of years of not functioning. That login has been fixed. So good news there. I did update the build guide on linuxgamecast.com for the 6.0 version. Like 1 or 2 packages you had to edit, but it's all there. You can go find it. Just type in Outdoor on our website. And this one, codenamed None More Blink Than Frank, which those are lies. Those are that is disparaging lies, Frank. There isn't. Frank's the OG Blink. Okay, don't be like that.
He's our OG skeleton.
It's still using the WAF system to build. I don't think they're ever going to change that. And it's Outdoor. It's there if you want to play with it. I mean, it's the best open source DAW available. Like, period. Like, not just on Linux. I mean, if you're looking for a floss digital audio workstation, that's the way to go, as he says, running Reaper.
And I think it's cool that there are now official builds for Apple Silicon systems, like the M1 and the M2s. Very nice.
Right? Those have been in the works, and I want to point out that Outdoor can run on Raspberry Pis as well.
Yeah.
It runs pretty decently. And being able to run it on Apple Silicon, which is another neat thing, being open source allows that type of portability too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is always good to see. Pro tip, I don't think there's going to be too many people in our audience. You don't really want to, even though you can get Outdoor for Windows, it's not really meant for it. It's not very stable on Windows. So do keep that in mind. And also don't flip out. I've seen people have absolute disconnects in the Outdoor forum. Why? They come from the Windows world, where open source means one thing and one thing only. From the Windows perspective, I'm overgeneralizing, but only this much. And I'm holding up a very, very small amount. In Windows land, open source means free.
Free, yeah.
That's it. That's all that gets processed. It's not like, hey, a community effort to build something. Oh, this. It means I don't have to pay for it, right? Yeah, okay. So they get to go download Outdoor, and you go click the download button, and you're like, all right, how much would you like to pay for the pre-compiled binary? I mean, there's a bunch of options. You can do a one-time thing, or you can do a monthly subscription. A little as $1 too. And they flip right out, Jill.
Yeah.
They flip out. They get so angry. They go to the forums and like, this is illegal. You can't, it's supposed to be free. And they have to be reminded. Like,
the days of freeware in the 90s.
it is completely free. Yeah. It's interesting to explain to somebody like, no, the source code is available. You can just download it and build it yourself. It's completely free. It's open source. That's not like, no, that's not how the open source work. Open source free. Give me.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, there's no helping some of you. But then again, I wouldn't try to build software under Windows either. I've said, I've just had my eyes glossed over a couple of times watching that toolchain get stuck together.
Yes.
All right. Kernel 6.1, there's a new release Canada. It seems like just a couple of weeks ago, I was compiling 6.0.
Yeah, you were. That's because you were, Ben.
Oh, I was?
So Linus Torvalds, he announced the first release candidate of Linux kernel 6.1, and it's ready for testers and early adopters who, want to get a glimpse of what's about to be included in the final release. And the final release is actually expected in early or mid-December 2022, so expect more release candidates down the way. But the biggest deal with this version, the biggest new feature of Linux 6.1 is the merge of the Rust infrastructure code. But don't get too excited yet because it's only a very basic implementation of support for the Rust programming language. And as Linus Torvalds says, it is basically a Rust hello world. So, but the Rust is coming in the Linux kernel. It's just It's just being implemented very, very slowly and carefully.
Begrudgingly. One thing I saw Linus say earlier this week, he was like, quit turning in your homework assignments late because he gets ready for a merge window. And he made this comment on the mailing list. He was like, and I understand where people are coming from. You know, you want to make that merge window and you want to push everything in at the last minute. And he's like, I don't have time to review all this stuff at one time when you guys just pour on me trying to sneak everything in at one time. He's like, be a little more responsible.
Yeah. So there's some other vulnerabilities in Linux kernel 6.1 that have been fixed, including Linux's Wi-Fi handling. And there's been lots of vulnerabilities with that identified, and they will be, fixed in hopefully the very, very soon in the forthcoming kernel 6.1 stable. And another useful new patch will display the processor and core number and which socket it's in when there is a segfault error in a program. This is kind of one of the first times we're seeing identity of hardware issues in the kernel, and it's going to give you prompts for that. That's pretty cool, especially for server-side uses. And this will be actually the last major Linux kernel release of the year, and it will also be the next LTS long-term support series, according to kernel developer Craig Crow Hartman. So I'm really excited about this release. We have lots of big changes coming in the Linux kernel, and this is just the start.
I just want them to get to an LTS.
Yes.
Give me a 6 series LTS so I don't have to worry about it. And same with the mainline. A couple of things I'm interested in seeing, especially in the Rust aspect, because this has been, bits and bits, and I was always like hesitant. But my guy I keep track of, TAC, who does the FireWire stack, also development for all the FireWire audio devices. He's got a entire project called FireWire Control Services, which gives you also mixer functionality for your FireWire devices, like out of the box. You basically plug it in, you go to also mixer, and you're like, oh, look, everything's there. Just like you would with the USB mixer that has that. That's all done in Rust. Pretty much everything I know about Rust, I've learned from having to tango with that the past couple of years. Getting that into the kernel for a small subset of people will be kind of huge. And I think especially for people looking to hold on to their multi-$1,000 audio interfaces that they bought 6 or 7 years ago, and you're just not supported on anything anymore. Not just forget about it on Windows. Apple, if it's not an M2, if it's an x86 Apple, there's I think it was like $160 worth of adapters you can buy.
Yeah.
To turn a FireWire signal and plug it into one of the Thunder Noodles, but
Thunderbolt.
And even then, it's still kind of dodgy, and you got to wait for the manufacturers. Like maybe they'll release some drivers for whatever OS, whatever it is. On Linux, you pretty much just plug them in, and you're kind of done. So yeah, having that extra functionality. So that is one thing I've kind of kept my eye on. I'm like, okay, Rust in the kernel makes sense since TAC is doing this in Rust. Yay. But also LTS. Awesome. Give me that LTS so I can just build and forget and just leave it on leave it on Jackbox and not have to worry about it. So we got kind of a big chunky slice of pie. Before I do that, I do want to thank each and everybody out there supporting us on patreon.com/Linux Gamecast, helping us do what we do. We got a bunch of bonus things for you to take advantage of, up to and including. Like, we got the entire version of this show. This is just like the little bit that you're getting. You're getting the middle. No, it's the juicy bit. But we got the fun beginning, fun end, live and uncut series. That is there. Access to our Discord. A couple of other things. If you want to come hang out with us for our live streams that we do with gaming, myself, Jordan, Pedro, and everybody else, you can do that as well. I'm going to be pushing out by the end of this week. You get to be a kind of a low-key producer on stuff that I release. I push it out. I'm like, hey, everybody, take a look at this. Give me some feedback. Give me some thoughts. Give me some hints. Give me your suggestions. And I take them in, maybe change them. Usually it's like, Vin, you made a typo. I'm like, yeah, I did. Thank you for catching that. And I'll fix the video and render it. But I always get that a little bit early for everybody. I don't like putting stuff behind paywall, but I don't mind a sneak peek even myself. So thank you for your support. We do appreciate it. Now,
Love you all.
Plugs are done.
Yeah.
Time for Slice Pie. This week, it's pretty
Something
much
special.
pine cones. all the way
Yeah,
down.
very good, Ben. I like that pine cone reef.
You
Picture.
know what? I
It's
would
very
I
nice.
would eat the pine cones because those are sliced almonds.
Yeah. Yes.
I would.
Oh, yeah, they are, huh? I didn't notice that.
Kind of neat. I was like, yeah,
Yummy. Yeah.
I'd do a drive-by nibble on that.
Except maybe the pine needles.
What do you? Well, I don't know.
Those
Maybe
look real.
only one way to find out, isn't it?
Yeah. True.
So, big update for all the Pine stuff. They missed the last update last week, but just IRL stuff kind of took place with everybody over at Pine 64, but they made up for it. If I can get this YouTube video to start playing so I have something in the background while I'm talking over it, that'll be even better.
Oh, that would be nice. Come on, video. I think I
know,
can.
right? Here we go. All right. So check this out. A couple of new things to play around with this week. And, just in the future, coming up, the O64. Is that what they're calling it, Jill?
Yeah, it's actually called the Ox 64. And as
So from now on, I want everyone to refer to it as the O64.
they call it it's an ox, no bowl.
It's
a
a
joke.
it's an oddball little device. Now it's reasonably inexpensive too. Let me get down to this little guy here. This is
Reasonably expensive.
reasonably expensive. We're talking about $6 to $8, and you're like, oh yeah, that's like the little thing that the Raspberry Pi makes. Form factor, yes, but here's where it gets like, because it's got a high performance 64-bit RISC-V core. Like, oh, that's neat. It's also got a
Yes.
high performance 32-bit RISC-V core. Okay. And a low power RISC-V core. Like, people might be able to get up to something with that, especially in the $6 to $8 price range. I'm like, all right. Maybe not exactly my cup of tea, but they got a bunch of them to sell, and that's something you can't really say about Raspberry Pi right now. Couple
Yeah.
other things. Couple other
Yeah.
Yes, Joe?
Well, I really love that it is, there are two versions, the $6 and $8 version, and the $6 version is an embedded device, and the $8 version is an SoC that you can run Linux on.
Now, if you've ever tried to run...
Pretty cool.
think you got to be in the right headspace for these, though, because you think like a Pi Zero, but slower. So, yeah.
Well, this is actually a great competitor to the Raspberry Pi Pico. So in close to that price range.
Oh, yeah.
And,
It's in the price range of like, okay, fine, I'll just buy one and see what it does. I mean, pretty much. Now, a couple of other things, though. What was it? Oh, the Star 64. Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that
I'm
was
looking
kind of
forward
neat.
to that. Yeah.
That now runs Linux, which is good. It's booting. It's doing all the thing. Star 64 had my attention, and it's booting the AOCS Debian fork. They even have it running XFCE, and the Power VR, the GPU, is doing acceleration with RISC-V,
Yeah.
which is
And
like,
the reason it's called Star 64 is because of the Star 5 chipset that it uses, which is the RISC-V chipset. So that
well,
makes
that's good. I mean, it's better than
Yeah.
like there was already a product called like Star 63 or something.
sense. Yeah.
That one has my attention, especially when you get it up to a desktop, because that's kind of what I'm waiting on. Not necessarily to run a GUI on it, but I want something, because they talked about, we talked about it several months ago, the Quartz 64 development
Yeah.
board, like that big chunker with a PCI Express slot and the M.2. I'm like, oh, I want one of those.
Ooh,
But they
sweet. Yeah.
only seeded them out to developers, and rightfully so. They want people to start writing the software ecosystem on that. And developers have had that for a minute, and they've got Linux up and running on it along with OpenGL, OpenGL ES, but they don't have Vulkan quite yet. They do mention that in this announcement. That's kind of what I'm waiting on, or maybe something a little slower than that, because I want to play around with the RISC-V, but I also want to be able to do something with it.
Yeah, I understand. But it is nice that you can, get a hold of an Ox 64 for $6 or $8 and just start playing with RISC. That's nice. And putting Linux on it.
I mean, for a Tinker device,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, at that price, you might as well. I mean, there's the reason I have not so many, but I have a couple of Pi Zeros is because, they've ranged anywhere from like $9 to $15, right?
Yeah.
You don't even think about spending
Very
that
true.
kind of money. You're like, I'm just going to buy one. See one. I have a Zero W2 that I've used once just to confirm that it worked. And
Yeah.
it's there. So it's one of those type of things. You pick it up for that just in case project, Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's been really interesting to see the Pine 64 kind of just grow.
Oh, it's amazing.
Now, right?
Their ecosystem is just getting bigger and better. And another cool thing happened is the Infinitime 1.11 has been released for the Pine Time, which includes access to new external resources, 2 new watch faces, and many additions and improvements. I mean, there's been so much development on the Pine Time. I've been really enjoying it, and downloading a new image every few months or so. It's pretty amazing. Lots of activity by the community on that one, and just in general with Pine, they're amazing people.
I want a RISC-V equivalent of like a Raspberry Pi 4. Yeah, I want something like 8 gigs of RAM.
Okay, yeah.
That's my new base standard right there. You get that 4 gig stuff. Just get it away. I know I can get 8. Well, you can get 8. Could get 8. Like 2 or 3 years ago, you could buy a Raspberry Pi 4 for like $70, which I did. And if I had known, I would have bought 4 or 5. That's what I would like to see Pine 64 develop, something like that with a rock chip. Something in that $60 to $70 range with that kind of power. Like I like to call them almost desktop browsing replacement devices, because you can almost get away comfortably running. Now, the Pine Time's also a neat thing. I know a bunch of people bought the Pine Times because they were ridiculously inexpensive compared to other smartwatches. Yeah. And that's what Pine 64 has been really good at, like releasing solid devices to play around with, and tinker with, because you find yourself looking for something to do. Pine 64 has got a lot to do, especially if you got a smaller budget. You're like, yeah, I can buy this, I can buy this, but stuff I wish existed when I had a lot more time than I currently do.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm looking forward to a Pinebook Pro that's RISC-based. And what was really cool is I got to talk to Wukash. His name is spelled Lucas in the article from Pine 64 on Sunday. On the other podcast I do, Destination Linux. It was a really good interview with him. And when I said I want a RISC-based Pinebook, he smiled. He goes, yeah. He just smiled and nodded.
Did you ever stop to consider maybe he would just had gas?
No. No. But
What?
that was funny. Oh. This is cool. But I'm really excited about that they're all going in on RISC-V, the open RISC standard. Because, for years since the 90s, I've been dreaming of an open RISC world, with loving and using my DEC Alpha and the SunSpark systems and all the vintage computers that I collect. And it's nice to see that it's now in an open state that we can develop on. It's really cool.
Interesting times. And yeah, we've always wanted to play around with RISC.
Yeah.
I've been playing around with RISC since the 90s. RISC kept me employed throughout all of the 2000s. Right. Thank you, Fujitsu, with your Saber 2 architecture. And, and I was talking to Jill like earlier. I think it was the G5 CPU that I still had that Pegasus motherboard, which was a development board.
Yeah.
That was a non-Apple motherboard. And I'm not even going to tell you what I paid. Okay, here's a good example. Mm-hmm. Here's the Power PC type stuff we want to play with. But how much do those boards cost you?
Yeah.
Like if you want to get a motherboard that'll run like an IBM Power CPU, those things are eye-wateringly expensive. Yeah. But do you know what? They would be so cool to play with. However, If you don't want to take out a mortgage on your home, Pine 64 lets you do that. You know, you can get a hold of stuff. Now, when it comes to a laptop, maybe. I think what we all secretly want, we want something that kind of contends. I know this is a huge ask, and it's not going to happen anytime soon, but I can still dream. Something that kind of on the level of like maybe the first M1 Apple chip, something that you could legitimately do everything that you currently do on your x86 box, but be able to do it, be it RISC-V or ARM. And that's the future I want to live in. And I want that form factor in a nice little tablet.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? We really have the Raspberry Pi ecosystem to thank for that. For all the development on ARM has been huge growth because of the Raspberry Pi. So embedded systems. Yeah.
I mean, that is the modern, I mean, you got to think like Raspberry Pi and everybody who's been doing these embedded boards, period. That's the modern day Heathkit. You know?
Yeah, it really is. I still have a Heathkit.
You got to think, I mean, kids these days, and unfortunately, there's some like, because growing up like the C64, Specky, stuff like that, those systems were small enough, even though it was still a big ass back in the day, you could really have a full understanding of the entire system. And just a modern PC, you're not going to be able to get your head around that. But when you get into, you can get into lower level stuff with your SBCs and like really understand how things work, which I think is a critical understanding. It's something you need as a foundation. It's not so high level as everything. It's not as abstracted as modern day PCs are. So I'm glad things like that exist. And they're cheap and they're affordable.
Yes.
So everybody keep up the awesome work. However, we got to run. Jill, do we got any last words before I cue that music?
Aw, keep those penguins marching.
I'm going to go spend the rest of the day not buying a $500 keyboard. That's my plan.
Yeah. You want that editing keyboard for
I don't
DaVinci.
want... Okay, yes, I want it. You know what? At $500, Jill, it's a deal, though. It used to be $1,000.
Oh, gosh. I have one, Van. I have an Avid...
Wrong credits. Oh, well.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I have an Avid editing keyboard from the 90s, and that thing was about $3,000. It was just insane. And here's our credits. Linux Gamecast style.
I have
Star
no
Wars
idea.
style.
Maybe I missed spell. I'm curious. We'll look at it when it gets done running because, hey, there's still credits. Yeah, specialized keyboards like the Avid stuff. Can you tell I'm trying to justify buying one? At least you can use the DaVinci Resolve as a regular keyboard.
Yeah. You know what, Ven? Look at it this way. It's going to pay off itself
No, it's
off.
not.
Yeah, it will.
I can tell
It
myself.
will.
See, I don't believe lies like that.
You gotta, for all the time you spend editing, all that time spent, just think of that as a few dollars every day that the new editing keyboard will cost you. Black magic.
You see, that's the way you might process it. I would have to process as like, well, I have to start making a lot more videos in order to justify it, which I don't have time for.
Okay. You don't have time, yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us, beautiful people. Thank you for your support, and we will be back to see you next week. If you get a chance, come hang out with us. I'm going to be back tomorrow with Jordan. We're going to be doing Back for Brad, and Friday, Jill and I will be together hanging out with the rest of our filthy casuals, learning how to get around tracks and coming up with brand new and interesting excuses as to the reasons we can. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Love you all. Yay. I was happy. Then about 15 minutes in, the audio was horrible hearing you. It was really, I was struggling to hear you. It was stuttering, and I checked my speed. Internet speed was fine. Everything's fine. I'm in green.
Yeah, your audio dropped out coming to me.
Yeah, okay. So, internet, I guess? I don't know.
It dropped back. I mean, it came back in. I mean, you came through clear, but yeah, it got to the point where I wasn't getting any audio, but it was only for a second or two.
Only a second? Okay, it's weird. It's like this. I'm hearing you now, but occasionally stutter, but at least I hear you better. Yeah, and it didn't start till like 10, 15 minutes in. All of a sudden, I was like, I had to think about what you said, put it together because I was missing words. But we made it through.
Yeah, we didn't have any issues on your end.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I blame the Cylons, yes.
Let me see if anything's going on. I'm already logged in. Let me pull up HTOP. Yeah, we're fine on this end. Sudo message W password. And yeah, everything's flowing through the data center. So maybe you just we had a issue between
Connections.
you to the server, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm showing, a gigabit up and down. So I checked that while we were doing the show too. Yeah. Okay. Maybe one of the connections along the line has an outage or something. Do, 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 do. I find your lack of train wreck disturbing. That's great, MT. Aw.
Let me see.
Do 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 do.
Yeah, Joe was having some issues getting audio back. Oh.
Do 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 do.
So what is going on here? Status 2. There we go. That's not confusing. Yeah, I have the Jitsi server set up to, the only thing, it had just been data transit loss, because the Jitsi server, as we witnessed with Pixelated Pedro.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
It will sacrifice video quality immediately to preserve audio.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like 10 people watch the video version. So yeah, the audio's, we didn't have any problem like on this end.
Okay,
so
good.
It's always weird seeing the Twitch emojis in Discord. I try to suss out what they say. Charizard,
Charizard.
Power up, or
Aw, Katana.
what does it say?
I have to look at my Twitch.
It's a dragon with a sword and some handy flames. Gamatron's got some discount kappas.
I see. Effects boy. That's funny.
See, hang on 1 minute. Let me, we'll hang out about another 5-10 minutes. I gotta grab something to drink real quick though.
Okay. Oh yeah, Arthurian, let me show you my mug today. I don't know if I had it last week, but I don't know if I showed it. Can't remember. But it's a cute kitty cat mug, a purple kitty cat, and it says, "Curiosity is more important than knowledge." Aw. So cute. For kitties, that is true.
Aw. Nice to have you, Katana. I missed you. I think, yeah, last week. You weren't around last week. You were probably busy working. Unless you were watching and not in chat. Yeah, I know. Isn't it a nice kitty mug?
I got the purple kitty mug because it matched my Twitch shirt. I hadn't worn this Twitch shirt in ages. I've got a whole collection of Twitch shirts from when I started Linux Gamecast and went to TwitchCon. Yeah, that mug has taken out many a kitty. So true. Oh yeah, FX Boy, I've had a Steam Deck since June. Yeah. In fact, I was playing Trackmania on it for a good month or so during our streams. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. And the updates have been incredible. They've really... The interface is getting nicer and nicer, which is also... It means the interface for desktop is actually getting better too. It's so nice. And then, of course, the game's running beautifully. No, it's awesome. In fact, I can show it to you, FX Boy. Yeah, so this is mine. Of course, I got a pink cover for it. When I got the Steam Deck, there weren't that many.
Atari Lynx again?
Yeah, Atari Lynx. There weren't that many covers available yet when I got this. When I got my Steam Deck, but I found some distributors on AliExpress. And I specifically looked for a pink one, and that was the only place I could find a pink case, a rubber case. I didn't want a skin. You could get pink skins, but I wanted a nice heavy-duty case.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, we had Mir, we had a bot. Oh, boy.
That was a little spam bot.
Yeah.
Right. Not. What am I doing? I am trying to log into Jackbox.
Yeah, Gamatron. It's really nice using that the deck with a dock. When it came out, I got a really expensive dock, and because I wanted 4K 60, and I also wanted to be able to have the dock for my laptops too. So I just got something that would work with everything nicely.
Oh, who was it? They did the recall, Dbrand, the kill switch.
Yeah.
Turns out like the kickstand on the back, they used one of those magical magnets.
The magnet, yeah.
And they didn't think about, like, yeah, that can slow a fan down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fan's right there. Yes. It would slow down the fan, yeah.
I mean, no one's exactly sure exactly how magnets work, but they do slow down fans.
Yeah. My concern about it is like, okay, where's the hard drive in relation to the stand? I mean, it is, it is metal.
We don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to have tablets and phones with magnetic covers and everything.
Everything's, yeah, you don't even think about it these days, but yeah, like your folios, like when you open it, oh, look, it cuts on automatically.
Yeah, I like that.
I wish we could find a better cooling system than fans. I don't like fans because fans make noise.
Yeah, fortunately, that's true, huh, Katana? They don't seem to bother the SSDs or the NVMEs too much. I guess it's got to be really, really powerful to do so. I still have my big, huge honkin' magnet that I can't even move when I put it on metal that I used to use to erase hard drives, old rust hard drives, spinning rust.
Yeah, you could rub a neodymium magnet all over NVMe's SS, like solid state. Like that's flash storage isn't affected by it.
Yeah.
Liquid metal and passive cooling. That's a cool theory, bro.
slowly pour cold Jello across it. That might be an insulator, Steve Husband. It actually might cool it off. Oh, speaking of which, Steve Husband, we have lemon Jello with meringue on top in the fridge. I got to eat one of those.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
See, this is another reason I want like a RISC-V or high-powered ARM solution, just for the power efficiency and less fans. Like the two big boxes in here are water cooled, but Threadbooper's not Threadbooper, Jackbox is 65 watt part. 5600G, and before that it was 1700, 65 watt part again, which is awesome. The 1920X, I think, is 180 watts. So even with a big chunky radiator on it, it still requires 3 120 fans that get louder than I want it to.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I could set up an evaporative waterfall cooler. So I'm just like, oh no, I'm just podcasting next to a river. I think Linux Tech Tips already did I don't know if they did a water cooled one. I know they did a like giant heat sink hanging off the back of it.
Yeah.
Like, that'll work. There's nothing wrong with Linux Tech Tips. It keeps, it's techtainment, but it gets kids interested in PC technology.
Yeah.
Like, it's not for me. It's not something I jam on. But it serves its point. Has its purpose.
Aw, Arthur doesn't like the squeaky one. Aw. No, it's funny because I really enjoy his videos, but even sometimes even for me, his voice gets a little irritating. Because he goes quiet, then loud, then quiet, then loud. But otherwise, I like the guy a lot.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's like a common trait with parasocial relationships people form with online presenters. I'm like, I don't know the guy. He could be a decent human being for all I know. Like, I don't know. All you know is like, who's that person? Dance Monkey danced in front of the camera, which I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. He employs a bunch of people. And it gets people interested in technology, which is a good thing. Also, here's what I like to hear. Here's what makes me happy when I was like, I don't like Linus Tech Tips. I'm going to do better. I'm going to start my own thing. Then you got my attention.
Yeah.
Then you got my attention. I'm like, yes, let's do that. Do it your way. Be glad to help you. But yeah, I'm like, I don't like it. Are you going to do anything about it? No, but I'm going to go find something else to complain about. Like, okay. Have fun.
Yeah, LTT has inspired, lots of other channels. A lot of other channels wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him in those early days.
Let it get you angry. Make it upset. You ever been so mad you were productive?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, it's nothing I catch, but I'm glad all of it's out there. I'm glad all of it exists, because everybody has their own take on things. And like, one of the things that really drives me up the wall, especially with like Linux content creators, there's not enough people out doing Linux content for there to be any type of division. if you waste 1 second or 1 ounce talking smack, like I don't talk smack about any Linux content creators. Go watch all the videos. You might think I do, but I don't. I don't say anything negative. Like, yeah, whatever. They're doing their thing. That's cool. Because there's not enough people for the division. We don't have enough people doing the Linux side
support everyone.
For you to have a team. Like, oh, I'm this team or this team. Like, no. The pie's too small. You're hurting the ecosystem. Like, severely if you're doing that. You know? So even back to the Linus Tech Tip things. It's like, oh yeah, he's covering Linux stuff with the Steam Deck. But he's doing it. It's like, but they're doing it. You know?
Yeah. And Linus got System 76 to fix bugs in Pop! OS, so that was good.
Well, I want everybody to go out and like watch everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Or a small community of Linux podcasters and tech tubers. Support everyone.
Everybody's got different takes on things, and you know what? Are there people that, like, as long as nobody's like is just expounding incorrect information, you're usually never even on my radar because, like, what do I watch in the background? I watch a Canadian hitchhike across Europe. That's usually who I'm watching on Twitch, or just some. I found a new game store in Seattle that just has a camera set up, and they're coming in and talking about retro gaming, which I don't particularly care about, but I'm like, that's background noise. That's what I watch. I don't.
Yeah, it's interesting to have on in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my techtainment.
Yeah.
For whatever that counts for. And the first thing you find out, like I've been doing multimedia production under Linux well over a decade. Like, Jill, you've definitely got a bit of a taste of this yourself, but like doing the videos, like interfacing Linux, things like that, or doing live shows, like even the show we just finished doing like that. There's a lot of work that goes into that.
Yeah.
And especially on something like, we're getting good at it over the years, but like Linux Gamecast Weekly. Yeah. That's 3 Yahoos talking smack for 4 hours. What you don't see is like the 35 to 40 hours of show note prep and all that went into that.
That's, yeah.
And what you don't see is like on Sunday from like 7:45 in the morning till sometimes 8 p.m., 9 p.m., putting all that together and getting it out there. So like a lot of work goes into these, and that's what I'm saying. Like anybody who's going to take the time to do that, they got some drive. So you got to give everybody, even if I don't agree with somebody, I'm like, I don't really like the cut of their take, or like with me, I'm like, that person's too happy. Like, you still give them the respect for trying it and doing it, you know? Like I can appreciate what they're trying to do. They got a different take on it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not my take, but it's helping, you know. Somebody is going to run across them. I'm like, hey, I'm like, right on. It's going to work out.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how much work we put in as podcasters. It's insane. I'm doing 3 podcasts a week now, and it's a lot of work. I sometimes don't have days off because I'm doing that, and I'm still doing a bit of teaching. So it's hard. It's a full-time job.
I don't consider it like work. I've had, I've had real jobs. The sitting down and talking, this is the fun part. This is the easy part.
Yeah. But this is my job for the other network I'm with, Destination Linux. That is a job for me. So
yes,
as
for
well
you,
as
that is, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm making money, but it's fun work, and I didn't expect to get paid, but I'm getting paid, which is nice. Getting compensated is nice, but it's not why I do it. I do it because I love it. I love Linux, and this is what I like to, give back to the community. Yeah, I actually retired from full-time from teaching to do podcasting full-time. I'm still doing one course, teaching a class.
What are you doing a course on?
It's our advanced animation students' independent study before they graduate. I help them with their demo reels and get into the art schools they want or get work as an intern or just work in general. No, it's okay.
Well, you do have to imagine us on the same show.
Yeah, because we are. No, and because of my start here on LWW, it's helped me branch out and doing other shows and making a career of it. Thank you to Van. It's nice.
You got to give people chances.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point in like gatekeeping. And I've always said anybody that wants to like put in like the effort. And Jill did something that most people never thinks about. You show up, like even in the after shows.
Mm-hmm.
That's always step one. And we're not trying to do anything like commercial. I'm violently against that. But it'll get you out there. Like, hey, I know that person is. And do that. You can work on it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now I want an Elmo puppet.
Me too. I like Elmo. Aw. Poor Elmo. He's got powdered sugar or something on him. I don't know.
I don't think that's what they're going for, Joel.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Trying to read what it says in the right corner. There's a word that flashes.
I don't know what rap.
I don't know. Is that flower? Oh, okay. Aw, Steve husband.
Speaking of the work part.
Elmo is really into baking. I know there were several episodes of Sesame Street where he was baking, so I guess that's appropriate.
They were able to, I think that was this year. They uncovered one episode of Sesame Street that they thought was lost.
Oh yeah, I hadn't seen it, but I heard about it. I was reading about it. Did you watch it?
No. I remember seeing it. No, well, not actually watching it. I remember seeing the headlines for it.
The headlines.
Yeah. I don't remember what the story was.
Yeah, I knew they found some old episodes of Big Bird and Snuffleupagus, which I loved. You know, that was in the 70s. We had Snuffleupagus.
Snuffleupagus.
The big purple elephant thing.
Wasn't he brown?
Yeah, I thought he was. I'm forgetting. I just
don't
remember
even
his shape.
Smell that. Snuffle. I have no idea how that's spelled.
Yeah, so true, Steve husband.
Okay, this is what Google gave me. Sudoku pages. Okay, I did get it.
That's not.
Succubus.
Oh, forgot the N. I guess if you put an N in there. Suffocapucus. There he is. He's brown. Yeah. I couldn't remember because I realized it'd been so long since I'd seen him. He hasn't been a character in a long time.
Do we get anything else? that we're excited about.
Yeah. I think that's good.
The children are fast. Right.
The big bird is faster. Oh.
Well, beautiful people, I guess that's going to wrap us down. I'm going to turn all of our bits into a podcast and push it out.
Okay.
Did we get anything else? I'm trying to keep an eye on... I'm working on another guide, but I'm running Reaper, which is native Linux. But I'm testing something. And what I'm testing is I'm running Wine inside of Reaper.
Oh, okay.
In an interesting way. I'm using Wine as a plugin host to run a Windows plugin inside of Reaper on Linux.
Nice.
And it's working.
Woohoo!
And it's the
Ooh,
most
that's
convoluted.
creepy.
What is that?
Yeah, that's creepy. I guess it was a bird that she was writing or something. It looks familiar. But
I don't know. It looks like the cracked in version of Yoshi.
Yeah. Game of Thrones, so your DOS swallowed a fly? Oh, Chocobo.
Well, you got to cover all aspects. Reaper is one of those interesting things. It wins because more people use it. And when you ask the internet a question, the user base is so large, you're going to find all the answers. And it comes down to, I want more people to start doing what we're doing. That kind of shit keeps me up at night. I'm like, where's round 2? You know, we've been doing Linux Gamecast for 10 years. Where's the next Linux Gamecast at?
Yeah. There hasn't been one, so.
Like, that bugs me. That really bugs me. So I always want to at least have the tools and the documentation and stuff to, like, if there is that person out there looking and they're thinking, okay, maybe I want to start doing this. Like, here's the guide. That's what I'm working on with this wine thing, because that's one of the common complaints.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get it figured out. Anyway, I got to go do the boring stuff now.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
I'll be back with Jordan tomorrow, 7:30. We have, I don't think anybody's at replied us yet. If you want to participate, reply me in Discord.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have 2 spots, and we are on
Bye, MD.
the
Bye,
DLC.
FX Boy. Bye, Arthur. Bye, Katana. Bye,
We'd love to have you.
Bye, Mir. Gamatron. FX Boy.
Trying to think. We got squad wipe last week. PSN Joe and Rohit showed up, and we just died a lot. So there's a big bad boss we're stuck on. That's probably going to be all of that tomorrow. But Friday, Jill, we'll be back.
Yeah, Friday's Trackmania. Fun. Woohoo. Make sure to go out there and practice. I got to do some practicing.
You guys quit practicing, man. You're taking all my games away from me. I do prizes on Friday if you're in the top 3 spots. Free random game of your choice. Everything from nature documentaries to AAA titles have been handed out. So we'd love to have you. And of course, Saturday, we'll be back. Man, we got we do Jordan and I have a very impromptu Rings of Power Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
podcasts that we put out for patrons. And Rings of Power kind of wrapped up. And oh boy, I got some things to say about that along
Okay.
with
I still got to watch it, and then I'm going to go and listen to the commentary. I haven't been listening to the commentary because I don't want to have anything given away, but I am going to after I watch it.
it's I got some thoughts, and I'm sure Jordan's going to have some thoughts on that. But we'll be back on Twitch at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for Linux Gamecast Weekly. All right, beautiful people. Enjoy yourselves. If you're going to get in some trouble, record it. Live stream it if you can. It'll be entertaining to watch.
There we go.
All right. Good
Bye,
night.
everyone. Night,
Bye-bye.
night.